Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end of times. Today's program is about that great Old Testament prophet, Daniel, where he describes the three nations that will be destroyed in World War III and the rise of the Antichrist. The three nations that will be destroyed in World War III are Russia, America, and England. They are symbolized by two horns on a ram and one horn on a goat. Let's look at verse 3 of chapter 8 of Daniel. And there stood before the river a ram which had two horns. One horn was higher and newer than the other, and the higher came up last. These two horns on the ram signify England and the United States. The larger, newer horn, of course, refers to America. The older, smaller horn represents England. Notice that the ram stands beside water. That refers to the capitalist nations of the world. This ram signifies decadent end times capitalism. It signifies the same as the whore in Babylon. The whore in Babylon, as you remember, rides atop a scarlet beast. The scarlet beast signifies communism. When the ram and the goat attack each other, this is the same as the scarlet beast burning the whore of Babylon. Remember in Revelation where St. John says that Babylon is fallen. Those two nations that fall refer to England and America. Let's look at verse number 4. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward. He did according to his will and became great. This is the west, the decadent west. Notice that the ram does not push eastward. That's because the ram does not represent the east. The ram signifies our own civilization. In the next verse, Daniel describes the he-goat, which will destroy the ram. Notice that this he-goat is masculine, the same as the scarlet beast in Revelation, which signifies communism. In verse number 5, Daniel writes, A he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Now you might say Russia does not come out of the west, but communism does, because communism was born in Germany with Karl Marx as its author. When Daniel says this goat covers the whole earth, he is talking about international communism, the same as the seventh beast in Revelation. When Daniel writes that the goat does not touch the ground, that means that its attack against the ram, that is the west, will be by air power and by stealth. The notable horn on the goat signifies the one great nation of international communism, and that of course is Soviet Russia. In verses number 6 and 7, Daniel writes that this goat attacks the ram. The goat was moved with anger against the ram and broke his two horns. The single horn, which signifies Soviet Russia, will break the two horns which signify England and America. In verse 8, Daniel describes this goat. The goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Now this does not mean that the great horn is broken after World War III. Daniel simply says that when the goat is very strong, the horn will be broken. Certainly, Russia will not attack the West until it is sure that it can win. That is, when it is very strong. But notice also that the goat's horn is broken in World War III. Undoubtedly a nuclear counterattack from the United States. And then Daniel writes, And from it came four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. This simply means that international communism will spread throughout the entire world following World War III. All the nations of the world will adopt communism. When all the nations of the world adopt communism, then it will become the same as the eighth beast in Revelation, and it will be supported by the revived Roman Empire. All 7 heads and 10 horns will support a communist one-world tyranny. Daniel next describes the rise of the Antichrist out of one of these 4 directions that the beast moves into. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, and it became great against the south and against the east and against the strength. Daniel is writing here about the rise of the Antichrist. Once the one-world communist system is established, and America, Russia, and England, the 3 horns which the Antichrist brings down, are defeated, then the Antichrist will be free to assume his role as the dictator of the entire world. Many Bible scholars have mistakenly assumed that the Antichrist himself defeats the 3 horns. But as we can see from Daniel, the Antichrist goads the 3 countries into attacking each other. This is how he brings them down. He provokes World War III. And that is next on the prophetic calendar. There will be no rapture before World War III. This is what must be our greatest concern in these end times. Now, this is part 1 of a 2-part series on chapter 8. In our next part, we will examine the Antichrist, where he comes from, and what does Daniel mean by the 2300-day reign of the Antichrist. Now, if you would like more information, simply write to the address you see on your screen.